Instagram. I am live. Hello everywhere else. Facebook, LinkedIn and YouTube. I'm going to, as always, be flittering between the two. So if you see my eyes darting about, that's what's happening. I am connecting with Instagram and everyone else. It is lovely to see you all again. I was with you earlier on. If you did not see my live stream that I did earlier on, what did I talk about now? Cannot even remember. Can you juggle? Can you realistically, hey there, can you realistically juggle independent social work with full-time work? That's what I covered earlier on. And so if you haven't seen that live stream, go ahead and check it out. It is there. On my platforms, it will be on my profile, so you can take a look there. So right now I'm going to be talking about the ways in which you can, things that you should be doing if you are a social worker who is semi-independent. This is especially good for you so that you can make that transition right into full-time social work. And if you are at the beginning stages, then this is still good for you. You should have your notepad and pen and be taking down this information, okay, so that you're clear about what you need to be doing. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Nicole. I'm the strategy mentor for social workers, and my role and my passion is helping social workers who are currently stuck in their 8 to 8, because we don't do 9 to 5, right? 8 to 8 job that are stressed out, burnt out, and really want to become independent. But they're really scared. They don't know how to do it. They've got lots of questions. They doubt and don't have the belief that they can do it or that it will work for them. My job is to give them the blueprint and hold their hand through the process. So even if you've never heard of independence before and don't even know what it is, I can take you all the way from that point all the way to launching with a rock solid strategy to be able to launch your business and have a successful business and develop it. So for those that are semi-independent, I work with semi-independents also, and I help them to develop and move into full-time. So I'm super excited to be here with you. Ian's already saying there's not enough hours in the day to do everything. Ian, there are 24 hours in the day, my friend. 24. We only sleep for about 6 to 8 of those, some far less, because there are social workers out here that have got some significant insomnia, right? And they're working on a lot less sleep than that, okay? And then on top of that, you're working, if you want to be kind of as realistic as possible, you're working about 9 hours a day, right? It's supposed to be 6 or 7, but realistically we're doing about 8 or 9. There's still hours left over on top of that, okay, after those 24 hours to do lots of other things. And it does not have to be a huge amount of time. You can set aside as little as half an hour a day, every other day, a week, every fortnight, even if you want to stretch it to an hour a month or half an hour, 45 minutes a month. Accumulatively, that is still going to be able to have quite an impact. As long as you're clear about what you need to do and you carve the time out in your diary or your planner, you can get a lot done. Okay, so there are always enough hours in the day, but it can feel as though there isn't, because we are running on overwhelm. We are, we're stressed, we're running to and fro, and we oftentimes not really getting time to even reflect on what on earth we're doing. And that's why having a planner, having things written out, knowing what you're doing from day to day, week to week is really helpful, because you're able to have a realistic snapshot of what on earth you are doing in life and how you're spending your time. And you'll be surprised, the people that are very time poor or feel that they're time poor actually find that when they do exercises in like in my planner, where they use the time tracker and the habit tracker, they're actually finding that actually they're spending a lot of time scrolling the internet, just because they just want to do something that is numbing. Right, but they find that, you know what it's like when you come online, you come on for one thing and an hour or two later you're still there scrolling through Facebook. Like, that's a lot of time that can be done. You can write a list in that time. You can put a load of washing on. I put a half-hour cycle, so in an hour I can do a half-hour cycle and put it out on the line. There's so many things that can be done in that time. You can do a bit of research online. You can sit down and do a landing page, start off the landing page or do an outline for a landing page. There are loads of things that can be done with a small amount of time if we understand how to manage it and use it effectively. So don't tell yourself that lie, Ian. You can get lots done if you manage your time well. Okay, so that's what we spoke about earlier on today. So if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. So right now we're going to dive deep without further ado. And I forgot to get my coconut water to drink and sip as I'm here. Drats. Okay. How to have consistent income as an independent social worker. There are 3 knowings that you have to have. 3. Write these down. Know your people, your skill, and your plan. Those are the 3 things. I'm going to break them all down. And again, I want you to take notes, and please do ask questions. If you're on Instagram, it has a little question mark in a speech bubble. Click that and you can write your question in there. Please, can you also, right next to that, you're going to see an arrow going that way. Please click that and invite people, social workers that you know of, to come and watch this live, because it's going to be some gems that are being dropped. Similarly, if you're watching on LinkedIn, Facebook community, or on the my page, or even on YouTube, I would like you to do the same. Please share it, copy the link, invite social workers that need to hear this, because I guarantee and I know for a fact that you will have colleagues that you have either spoken with or have mentioned to you that they're interested in independence, but they haven't got a clue how. They haven't got a clue how to do it, and they've got some worries about what it might be like. So this is going to be really helpful for them as much as it is for you. So don't be stingy and share. And so I'm going to just right here, even on the Instagram, bear with me, I'm going to share and let some people know that I'm on, because it's helpful to do that so everyone can get the information and win, because that's why I like sharing this information. I want everybody to have this information so that we can all start taking the steps and live the life that we really want to live, and start doing the things that we want to do and not being frightened. You know, the worst thing is when you really want to do something, but you feel stuck for one reason or another, whether it's because you're not sure how to do it, whether it's because it's fear holding you back, your fear of success, fear of failure. You know, it can be really debilitating when you just feel stuck. And so I'm really about sharing as much as I know. Okay, so let's get into it. Know your people. First and foremost, there are 4 points relating to know your people. The first thing is that you've got to know what they want versus what they need. All right. This is very, very important as it relates to having consistent income, knowing what you provide, knowing who you're providing it for. You have to have a clear understanding about what your people want versus what they need, because most times people would like you to sell them things, or they will buy things from you because it's what they want. Yeah. So let me give you an example. If you are an impulse buyer, or you are a shopaholic, or somebody that is a very emotionally driven, or somebody, for example, I mean, as social workers, we have a stressful job, or a job that's full of pressure, and we can feel very stressed oftentimes. Most social workers that I speak to feel very stressed, and not just the pressure of the job. And so, sometimes that results in us having and developing bad habits like impulse buying, comfort eating, all those kind of things. And this isn't, just for social workers. This is any industry, right? But particularly high pressure jobs. And so I'm talking to you as a social worker, so this is particularly relatable to yourself. Okay, so I want you to understand here that you've got to understand the difference between what your clients and those that you're going to be serving, what they want versus what they need, because they will buy from you what they want all day long, but what they need in terms of a transformation, especially as it relates to our industry and how we help, and the kind of things that they're going to have to do, like digging beneath the surface, having to get in touch with some icky feelings, maybe that's going to help them make the transformation within our industry, like that can be difficult to do. So you've got to really understand the difference between their needs and their wants. This is going to be a very, very key thing. Do not underestimate it, right? Because that's going to lead on to you having an understanding of that is going to lead on to what we're going to talk about in terms of the plan. So we're going to come on to that. That's the first thing, understand their needs versus their wants. Then you want to understand how to show them how you are going to help them. Yeah, how are you going to show them how you're going to help them? It needs to be clear, because you might have it clear in your mind and you might say it in a particular way, but they hear it and they're like, what? I don't want that. I don't want that. Right? I don't want that. And they might even say, I don't need that. You have to understand how to articulate it in a way that is meaningful for them and where they get it. Okay, so it can't just make sense for you. It needs to make sense for somebody off the road that doesn't know anything about your industry. It has to be completely clear, right? And so talking very plain language, us social workers, we love jargon. We like to use social work jargon. People don't know what it is, they don't care for it, and they don't want to hear it, quite frankly. So we have to learn how to ditch jargon and just talk in everyday language that people understand, that they can relate to, and that they connect to from here. Okay, so that's the second thing. The third thing is understanding the variance of their needs. Okay, so this is drilling down now, not so much focusing on their wants, because you figured out what their wants and their needs are, but now you want to drill down on their needs. What are their needs, right? You want to be clear about all the variance related to their needs, okay? And make sure that you have a list of these. And then finally, you want to know how the transformation is going to work. You need to know every step of the transformation that you're going to provide and the transformation that they actually need to get to where they want to be. So people come to you for a reason. It doesn't matter what the industry is. When I was going to buy my sunglasses, I had very clearly in my mind that I wanted sunglasses that were good quality, that they were stylish, that they were cute. I have a very small face and frame, so I can't like wear most adult glasses because they just slide off my face. So, you know, I wanted something very specific. And so when I went to buy my sunglasses, the person that was dealing with me and supporting me and helping me to choose was listening to what I wanted. They were asking me questions that clarified for them the kind of frames and glasses that they could show me. And then they took me through the whole process. They gave me the information that I wanted. They actually spoke to me and educated me on sunglasses and the importance of having polarized lenses, for example. I didn't know that was a thing, but he showed me the difference between a non-polarized lens and a polarized lens. Then he told me about the quality of the frame. And then we looked at the different types of frames that I liked across all the different designers. And then he helped me narrow it down. And then after that, he let me try it on a few times. He walked around with me. He took the had the mirror. He threw compliments at me, of course, right? Threw compliments at me. And then he helped me to decide which frame that I wanted and which actual glasses that I wanted to settle on. And then we spoke about price. Then he took me over to the counter and he actually served me. And then he upsold to me because, of course, I needed the spray and all the other little bits and pieces. I like all that. I'm a businesswoman. I know what he's doing and I like spending money. So I didn't care. I wanted to buy glass and I wanted the whole kit and caboodle. If there was a little bag that came with it, I would have got the bag too, just for the hell of it, right? It's terrible, I know. So he did all that. But the point that I'm making to you, from the moment I walked in the store and came to the area, when he greeted me and, you know, asked me, what are you looking for? And he took me all the way to the close of sale, right? That's how it's done. That's how it's done. So you need to be clear about what is the transformation that you create for your actual clients. All right, from start to finish. So that's know your people. The second one I mentioned was know your skill. There are 3 areas on this part, okay? 3 areas. Now, the know your skill, the first and foremost is you need to be clear about the difference of your skills, your knowledge, your experience, and your expertise. All 4 of those domains are domains in their own right, right? And you want to list down all of the different things that relate to you in those areas, whether they relate to your career as a social worker or not. So don't be limited just by your career. Be clear about what else you provide, what else you offer, right? And then you want to be able to understand how to use those different areas for the different elements of what you provide, the different parts of the transformation that you are going to provide for your client, because not everything that you do is going to fit with every area that you're going to try to provide. You have to know what fits where and be very clear about that. If not, it can just become very confusing, not just for you, but for your client. And so there'll be different parts of the processes that will require different things. So that's the second thing. The third thing is, do not use everything. You know, as social workers, we are multi-passionate and we are incredibly multi-skilled. And so you are not going to use everything. Like, I know social workers that come to me and they say, I'm doing practice assessment, I'm doing Form Fs, I'm amazing at, you know, doing workshops, I'm doing training, I'm also mentoring, I'm doing other, you know, all these other things as well. Like, you've got to think about what you want to provide. You want to think about, you know, it's great to have different income streams, but again, unless it's fitting into a transformation, they're all separate things in their own right, and they all require a great amount of work. I know I've just busted somebody's bubble. I've done that many a times when social workers come to me through consultation, and then once we actually go into a deeper consultation, so usually that happens on the breakthrough, and then when we go into a deeper consultation, they realize, yep, okay, you're right, I get it now. I get that I can't do everything. I can't be all things to everyone. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. You have to have a niche, and you would have heard me talk about that before. Okay. So you're not going to be using all your skills, all your knowledge, all your expertise, and all your experience. Okay. When you're working with your client group, because it just won't be feasible. So there is a process. I call it I can't remember what I call it now. I think it's the expertise filter. The expertise filter, where you're able to filter out specifically what you are going to be providing, what skills, what knowledge, what expertise, what experience that you are going to be using as the basis to actually deliver to your clients, because you cannot use them all. It just becomes confusing. It becomes confusing for you, and it becomes very confusing for them. And not only that, it's unsustainable. That will be one of the number one things that will allow your business to collapse, because of the fact you're not diving deep enough on the subject with your clients, and you're spreading yourself too thin. So when issues or risk management elements come up on one or two areas at once or at the same time, you're up the creek without a paddle. There's no way you can manage it unless you have a huge team around you to actually manage it. And most social workers that are independent do not have that, certainly not initially when they are setting up and trying to scale and develop. So it's a no-no. It's a no-no. Okay, third and final thing, know your plan. Know your plan. There are 3 areas of this. So what are you marketing in your area? So you've got to understand how you're going to market what you have to offer. And this is important because not all strategies will work for your particular product, service that you're delivering to your particular client group, because they have a particular set of needs and wants. Yeah. So your marketing has got to be geared and relate to them specifically, and how they are going to be receiving it and digesting it. That's the first thing. The second thing is that you've got to invite them to experience what you have to offer. This is something that people, you know, they really worry about. They're quite happy to do things for free, but you know, you cannot sustain an independent social work practice on free. Yeah. Or even on low cost. It won't work. It won't work. And when you run the numbers and you do the numbers, you'll realize that very quickly. So it's really important that your pricing is justifiable and fair according to what you're delivering, but that actually you're asking people and inviting people, showing them what you have to offer. I think people struggle with sales at best in most industries, and it's a lot of mindset work that you have to do to overcome that. I've had to do it over the course of the 6 years, and I had to learn very early on that I had to do it. I had some of my clients that were telling me it's too cheap, and I was like, really? You know, and I had to work on it, and I have worked on it very well. And so this is probably something that you will have to go through and you'll have to experience for yourself. But you need to invite them in. Sales is simply an exchange of value. right? Nobody cares about what they pay for. I'm going to say that again. Nobody cares about the amount that they pay. They care about whether it's going to give them what they need and what they want. Yeah, so there are going to be some clients that will know, yeah, I really need this. I know it's going to be difficult for me to go through this, but you know what? I've got no other option. I really need to do this, so I'm all in. Some will be, I want this. I really want this. I don't think I need it, but you know, the way you're selling it to me and how you're saying it, oh my gosh, I think it's just for me and I want it. So you're going to have a variant of maybe one or the other and sometimes both. All right. And so again, that's why that earlier exercise is important and understand the difference, because then you know how to speak to your actual audience and hit the nail on the head. And people don't, as I said, they're not so hung up about what they pay. It's more about what the experience is going to be and whether they're going to get the end result. Yeah, whether they're going to get the end result. That's the most important things. Now, that doesn't mean that there are going to be people that may not be able to afford it. And it doesn't matter what the price is, that you can charge like £10 for something, somebody could still say they can't afford it, because it's about whether they value it enough to make the purchase. That's always what it's about. It's about, do they value it enough? Do they value themselves enough? So is fear holding them back and they're making the excuse that they can't afford it? Sometimes that happens. Or is it about the fact that they just don't have it in their budget right now, but they're going to save for it, and that it's on, they've earmarked it as something that they're kind of like on their wish list or their vision board, right, to do. That's kind of the place that you want to be in with your clients. You want to be able to offer them the opportunity to work with you so that they can get what they need. And so that's why knowing your skills, knowing who they are so that you can then market to them is important. So effectively you're asking for the order. Like closed mouths never get fed. You have to invite them, and it will either be a yes, no, or not now. Yeah, it will be one of those three things. But the reality is, if you're marketing yourself in the right way, the people that you are trying to attract will come and find you. Like, you won't have to go and find them. They will come and find you, and they'll be knocking on your door. Yeah. And then the third and final thing is follow up. Follow up is so important. I'm going to give you a little story of an example of follow up. So one of my very first jobs, when I did my whole strategy, remember I told you I wanted to be a social worker since I was 13. And I strategized my way to being able to start to get onto the program, to be an independent, to be a social work student, because I knew I wanted to be an employment-based student. That was part of my strategy. But I couldn't get onto, initially, I couldn't get onto the course, the social work degree course, because I didn't have experience in social work. And I couldn't get social work experience because I didn't have a degree. So I had to sit and strategize, how on earth am I going to get social work experience so that I can work my way? Well, anyway, I had a 6-year plan, and part of that plan was to attend college and do an entry level. So I did health and social care, GMVQ, and that was over a 4-year period. I could have done it in 3 years, but I wanted to start right from the bottom and work my way to the top, as it were, and do the entire experience. And I remember strategizing that some of the places I was going to work while I was studying was going to be for experience. So some of it was voluntary, some of it was very strategically voluntary, so I could get my foot in the door to be able to do other pieces of work that were related to health and social care and social work. But one of the places that was not related to the industry which was just for money. One of the places that was just for money was a retail company. I'm not going to name them, but I love this retail company. And when I first went to them, it was my first time getting a job like that. And I think the first time I went to try and get a job, I went to the job center, and it was an awful experience. I was just like, my gosh, it was just very weird and strange. So it was my first time having a job like that, like from the outside. I had another job before that was kind of like in the family, but this was like my first like outside job. And anyway, so I went there, and it was a company, it was a supermarket that I got this job in. I went for the interview and everything, and I was absolutely loving it. I got the uniform and I was so excited, and then it crashed. I don't know, I can't remember what happened, but it didn't go ahead. And so I had to go back to the job center, and I was like, do you know what, this isn't for me. This life isn't for me. So you know what I did? I put my CV together, and I I printed it off and I put them all in plastic wallets. I went with about 30 or 40 or something. I got dressed up and I went to Oxford Street and I walked up and down in heels. Not like that. That sounds ominous. Like with my CV, with my resume. And I went into all the stores and I pitched, right, to try and get a job and asked them if they had any jobs. And I gave them my resume. And then I only heard back from about 4 places after all my CVs went. And this goes to tell you, this is another object lesson that I want you to write down in terms of like having consistent income. It's always a numbers game. It's a numbers game and about conversion, right? So that's just like a little bonus side piece. So I went and I got about 4 responses back, and one of them was a retail company that I ended up going for an interview. I think it was a 2 or 3 part interview stage, and the last stage was where we went to the flagship store and we all had to sit down and ask questions. I think they were looking at how you work as part of a team, I guess. And to the end of it, I made sure that, I put my best foot forward, and I'm generally very helpful. And so, I was helping them tidy up. Everyone got up and buggered off and said goodbye. But I stayed back and I was helping them tidy up, and they were very thankful for that. Anyway, I didn't hear back. I didn't hear anything. And I said, I haven't heard back from them. It's been a week, 2 weeks, and I followed up. And when I followed up, they were like, oh, I don't know why. We don't know how you kind of slipped through the net. We actually want to give you the job. Thank you so much. We were really impressed with you in the interview. And, we were so grateful that you stayed behind and tidied up. You showed real team spirit. And it just went from there, and I got the job. And I was there for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years, I think. I met one of my first boyfriends there. He works in another department. So you see, the world just opened up for me. So you see, follow up is important, is the object lesson. Follow up, follow up, follow up. You never know what might be happening on the other side. You don't know whether they've misplaced your information. You don't know whether they just they forgot to contact you and book that session with you or buy in that product, whatever it is. Follow up is important. Never get worried. And this is another side bonus piece for you. Like, don't get disheartened or worried or fearful that people won't want to work with you or buy from you or have what you have to offer. Okay, because that can be very easily done. You can, the imposter syndrome really takes place and it can completely throw you. But it's important that you remember that what you have is an exchange of value. Okay, and so those are the things that you need to be doing. Know your people, know your skill, and know your plan to be able to have consistent income as an independent social worker. So if you are semi-independent and you still need to make that transition, then these are the things that you want to really be paying attention to and think about whether or not you are already doing them. And you might be doing some of these things, but not all of them. I would strongly suggest you are doing all of them. All of these go deeper, because it's one thing to know what you need to do, but how you need to do it. There are nuances to how you do these things. And if you are interested as a social worker, whether you haven't yet started the journey to independence and you're new to it, or you are semi-independent, again, it will be wonderful for you to actually go to my website. The Social Workers Launched to Freedom program is actually now open. It's a step-by-step program where you actually create your business. It's a year long. You get 6 months to actually go through the portal and do all the learning. And then the other 6 months, you get support to continue filling out what you have done and the last bits and pieces that you have, so that you can move towards launching your actual independent business. And so it's really exciting. I've had social workers on the program before, and I could think of one in particular who's already opened up her businesses and doing well with it, and she's looking at taking it further still and growing it, developing it more. I have one-to-one students as well, or mentees, should I say. So this program is something where it is drip-fed modules. You get 1 a month. There are 6 modules, pre-work, getting started. There are 3 launch phases, and then launch is the 6th. And so we really dive deep into looking at what's going on for you in life right now, how you're going to move forward, and putting things in place so that when the journey starts and obstacles arrive in life, because that's what happens in life, you actually know how to pivot and move forward. We look at how you can set up your systems to help and help you find work-life balance, so you're actually able to sustain working on your independence as well as full-time. And there's a difference between working independently, actually taking on pieces of work, and actually building your independent practice and working full-time. And then the launch phases 1, 2, and 3, we really discover how to pandemic proof your business. We go deep on all of these areas that we've covered between those 3 phases, and far more, because there's a lot more things that you could be doing, but these are the bases, and there are strategies to each of these. There is wording and copy, and there's knowing where to find your people initially, so you know how to share with them who you are and what you have to offer. There are lots of nuances to all of these stages and areas that I've covered, so we dive very deep into it, and it's done over a period of time which isn't overwhelming. So we look at how you can create services and products, and knowing how to have income streams, and we look at pricing. So it's nothing that you need to go away and think about, scratch your head and I'm not sure how to do it. You're going to get the information and you just need to implement it. And you learn how to develop your network and how to have partnerships with other organizations, and even create a team around you that will help your business thrive. And so you become very strategic. And of course, we think about when is going to be the best time for you to become independent, because you might have visions of when you want to become independent now, and it may actually not be realistic or appropriate, or it might be way too down the line, and because you're playing it safe and you're scared. And so we really will look at those things and figure out when is going to be the best time for you to be independent. So I guess if you have any questions, you can let me know. I will do kind of a Q&A, because sometimes I do get people asking things like, what is the Social Workers Launched a Freedom program? Can you be working full time? When does the program begin? How much time will you need to invest? There are some things that really I want to probably cover, and I'll probably do a live stream about that maybe tomorrow and answer some of those questions that I get. So yes, if you have any questions at the moment about anything that I've covered here, please pop it in the chat. As always, for the YouTube channel, I will go over and pop over to the YouTube channel once I'm done, answer any questions and respond to anything there. But for now, I'm not seeing any questions on the Facebook page or on LinkedIn, or on Instagram. Thank you for those that have joined, and I will look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I think tomorrow I'm talking about how much experience at 12 noon. I'm talking about how much experience do you need to have as an independent social worker. And I'm thinking, I don't know whether 7 p.m. is better to do my live rather than at noon, because I know social workers are working, and so I may be thinking it may be 7 p.m. Maybe you can let me know. For those of you that are watching, can you let me know in the comments which is better, 12 noon or 7 p.m. for you as a social worker to be catching my lives? And on Instagram, can you also put in the comments as well which you would prefer, and then I can set it accordingly. So we're going to be talking about how much experience do you need to have, because that's another question that I'm getting a lot. So somebody's saying 7 p.m. Okay, so another person saying 7 p.m. Okay, 7 p.m. it is. So I won't do it at 12 noon. And if I do anything at 12 noon and go live, it won't be necessary to share content, but I'll do 7 p.m. Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. Oh, other people are saying 7 p.m. Okay, 7 p.m. it is. Good. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow at 7 p.m. Please do share this and let other colleagues know, social work colleagues know about this live that I've done, and share it with them so that they can get the juicy content too. Thank you for joining, and see you again soon. Bye for now. Oh, and finally, before I do go, for those of you that have not yet booked a free breakthrough consultation, you can do that with me. It will be in my bio, or it will be on my about page, wherever you might be, whether you're on Instagram, it will be in the bio link, and similarly on LinkedIn, if you go and you look on the about section, it will have it there. If I've ever DM'd you, it will have it at the bottom of my signature. It's a free breakthrough consultation where if you've got any questions about independence, how it could work for you, what it's about, then that's the time to jump on a call with me and we have a conversation. Okay, so it's a free breakthrough consultation and you will leave with value. So yeah, I love doing those. And so I'm looking forward to speaking and connecting with you soon. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.